What's good, future millionaires? We back with another banger. So we're going to cover some top crypto stories today. We're going to cover Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, shibainu, as well as crypto Twitter, and we're going to do some technical analysis. So make sure you are subscribed and you hit that like button on this video. So let's get straight into this, y'all. We got the fear and greed index at a 26. It looks like the crypto market is exactly overall where it was yesterday right now, sitting at a $3.07 trillion market cap, up about 0.45% on the day, so almost a 0.5%. We got Bitcoin right now at $90,151.55, up 0.2% on the day. Ethereum sitting at $3,107, up 1.2% on the day. BNB at $8.95, up 2.2% on the day. XRP at $2.02, up about a point for the day. We got Solana sitting at $132.83, up about a point for the day. Tron right now at 27 cents, down about a point for the day. We got Doge sitting at 13 cents, up about 2.2% on the day. ADA at 41 cents, basically flat. We got BCH sitting at 574, down 0.3%. Hype at $28.80, up 0.8%. Link at $13.73, up 1.2%. Leo at $9.50, basically flat. XMR sitting at 416, up 3.3%. So that's the top gainer of the top 15 so far. And then we got one of my favorites, Stellar Loom XLM right here at 23 cents, up a point on the day. Y'all, not financial advice, nothing you see in this video. I cannot tell you to buy, sell, hold, any of that. You have to do your own due diligence. And remember, never risk more than you're willing to lose. But XLM is one that you want to be paying attention to, especially as Ripple is becoming a crypto bank. Ripple is, well, XLM is created by the same founder as XRP. So you definitely want to do your due diligence on that one. Let's skip down to where shibainu is, 24th place by market cap, sitting at 8,321 points per coin, up about 1.7% on the day. So let's jump in before we get to Bitcoin technical analysis, taking a look under the hood of Ethereum, XRP, and SHIB. Let's take a look at some of the top stories that we got. So right now, top stories in crypto. Juventus not for sale, says Agnellis rejecting crypto giant Tether's bid. So it looks like Tether has put in a bid for 1.2 billion to take over some sports team. So let's take a look at which team this is. I'm not familiar with this. If y'all know anything about this team, drop it in the comment section. So let's zoom in on this so it's easier for y'all to read with me. Okay, let's see. Juventus owners publicly rejected a buyout offer from a cryptocurrency firm on Saturday, ensuring that the most successful club in a Serie A history will remain controlled by the Agnelli family. Tether, the cryptocurrency firm, made an offer worth about $1 billion, nearly $1.2 billion, for Agnelli family's majority shares in the record 36-time Italian champions. Juventus, our history and our values are not for sale, said John Elkann, chief executive of Exor, the Agnelli family's holding company, in a video message posted on Juventus website. Juve has been a part of my family for 102 years, Elkann added. Over the course of a century, 4 generations have emboldened it, made it strong, taken care of it through tough times, and celebrated it in the many festive moments. We continue to support our squad and are looking toward the future in order to build a winning Juve, added Elkann, the grandson of Fiat tycoon Gianni Agnelli. So it looks like, let's see, John Elkann, chief of Exor, the holding company. So it looks like this guy right here centered in the picture. Juventus has not won Serie A since taking 9 straight titles between 2012 and 2020. The touring club fired Igor Tudor and hired Luciano Spalletti last month after a difficult start to the season. Spalletti expressed his appreciation for the owner's stance. It's a pleasure once again to feel the strength and passion of John Elkann and his family for this club, he said during a news conference ahead of Juventus Serie A Bologna on Sunday. It's clear that it's up to us to give substance in exchange for this passion, honoring the past and building a future at the same level or even better, as John Elkann himself told us when he came to visit. So basically it just looks like, crypto is, not only buying arenas, but crypto is looking to move into owning sports teams as well. That's major. We're moving into the banking sectors. We're moving into the sports, arenas. Now, think about it. Crypto is starting to basically spread out and touch everything, and once we get to a point of mass adoption, just imagine those of us that have been positioned in crypto over the last, 5 years, those of y'all that will be in, over the next 10, 15, 20 years. Imagine where we will be at in that time. Imagine when, the majority of crypto companies own the top sports teams. What is that going to look like? What is the advertising going to look like? What is the onboarding going to look like when you see the Lakers owned by, let's just say a ETH holding company or something like that? Los Angeles Lakers owned by Ethereum. So, you're seeing a crazy amount of advertising and branding and, cross promotion to, get people that usually aren't invested into crypto or aware of crypto, putting it in front of their faces, so that way now, they can have the opportunity to learn more about it and see that, it's a lot bigger than most people might think. So let's see what other stories we got here. Okay, so it looks like that might be, it sounds like it's a soccer team. Or in a majority of the world would say football team. Okay, so we got U.S. banks warn OCC crypto charters could weaken financial system stability. So this is looks like a response to 5 of those crypto companies receiving approval to basically transition themselves into crypto banks. Not the type of banks that service everyday customers like you and me, giving check-ins and savings accounts. These are more of custody banks and investment banks for large institutional money. So let's zoom in on this. Just go into this one, see what they're saying about it. It's good to stay up to date with this type of information because you can get in front of where the market may be heading, especially if you know what lawmakers are planning to do. So U.S. banking groups challenge OCC's approval of crypto charters, warning it could weaken the banking system and create regulatory issues. Now, of course, right off the bat, a lot of people, myself included, thinks this sounds like old traditional banking afraid of, this new modern banking stepping into the picture, because these old banks, they traditionally held it down. They had complete, I don't want to call it a monopoly because there's multiple banks, but they had complete authority and control over that sector. So now that these new crypto banks are trying to move into the sector with not the same agendas that these, old institutional, players might have, they're not going to like that, So let's take a look at this. TLDR, U.S. banking groups oppose OCC's approval of crypto charters, citing regulatory risks. ABA and ICBA warns OCC's crypto charter move could undermine the banking system. OCC's approval allows crypto firms to avoid FDIC coverage and full regulations. Bankers fear OCC's crypto charter move could create a 2-tier banking system. And right now, a lot of American people were just ready for something different. I did see one reasonable concern from, I believe it was like the largest teachers union in America. They were basically saying that this would allow these institutions to avoid the traditional guardrails that are put in place to protect some of these investment portfolios and 401k plans that are rolled up into all these funds and things like that. They were basically worried that these new fund managers may be able to move things around or just make riskier assets that are not as safe sound like they may be safe because of now this new legislation or approval that they're receiving. So, the teachers are worried that, hey, what if a bad actor of a hedge fund, basically invest our money of our 401ks into, a bad situation with one of these banks? That's to sum it up. That's basically what they're worried about. Now, obviously, the banks are worried about, the big banking players are worried about, to me, losing ground, losing, control over a system that they control for, hundreds of years. So on December 12, 2025, the Office of Comptroller of the Currency granted national trust charters to 5 digital asset firms. This includes well-known names in the crypto industry such as Ripple, BitGo, and Fidelity. These approvals, however, have sparked strong opposition from major U.S. banking groups who argue that the move could weaken the country's financial system. The American Bankers Association and the Independent Community Bankers of America, ICBA, raised concerns about the potential risk associated with the OCC's decision. concerns over regulatory gaps. The ABA and ICBA have criticized the OCC for creating what they view as a two-tier banking system. These banking groups argue that the digital asset firms, while granted national charters, are not subject to the same stringent capital, liquidity, or insurance requirements as traditional banks. The lack of federal deposit insurance corp coverage for these crypto firms is one of the primary concerns in their views. This could create confusion among consumers who might struggle to differentiate between insured banks and these new charter firms. I don't really think this is that big of an issue because these charter banks or whatever call them national banks that they're allowing these crypto companies to become aren't the same banks that service everyday people. These are banks that are serving institutional players, large, players, big money. So when they say among consumers, it's not the average everyday consumer that's going to be, interacting with these new crypto banks. It's going to be, maybe the average consumer through a manager or a fund manager or something like that, but not directly. So I think these fund managers will be a lot smarter and understand, what they're doing. Obviously, there is room for, play with some bad actors in there. But normally when you're put in a position of that high power, you usually know what you're doing. So in a statement, Rob Nichols, president of the ABA, emphasized that the new charters blur the lines of what constitutes a bank. He further expressed concerns that this could undermine the integrity of the national banking system by permitting entities to call themselves banks without the full set of regulatory obligations. As these digital asset firms become a part of the banking system, there are fears they might operate in ways that could lead to instability in the broader financial system. Potential for regulatory arbitrage. Another significant concern from banking groups is that the OCC's decision may encourage regulatory arbitrage. By securing national trust charters, crypto firms could bypass state-level regulations, particularly laws governing money transmitters. At the same time, they would avoid compliance with the full set of regulation that apply to traditional FDIC-insured banks. The situation could lead to a regulatory environment where some financial entities are held to higher standards than those potentially placing traditional banks at a competitive disadvantage. So, interesting. Take your own opinion from that. But, obviously, it sounds like what it sounds like. Traditional banks want to keep the new players off of their turf. That's what it sounds like to me. See what else we got. Circle Internet wins crypto bank charter. We talked about that yesterday. SEC issues guidance on crypto asset. Let's check this one out. Also, YouTube enables crypto payments or payouts for U.S. creators via PYUSD. So that's big right there, y'all. Let's take a look here. SEC issues guidance on crypto asset custody for retail investors. The SEC's Office of Investor Education and Assistance has released an investor bulletin to educate retail investors on crypto asset custody options. The bulletin covers the essential of crypto wallets, including the distinction between hot and cold wallets, as well as the importance of securing private keys and seed phrases. So for those of you that may be new to crypto, new to the channel, just new to the space overall, hot wallets are basically a wallet that is already connected to the exchange. It's easier to get access to. It's not a cold wallet. A cold wallet would be one that you control the storage of. You control it yourself. No intermediary or central authority can, get access to it. It's your cold storage. You own the keys to it, meaning it's actually your crypto. Hot wallets are a lesser version of that. You can download them, connect them to different sites on and off, but it's not as secure as a cold wallet. So remember, never share your keys or your seed phrases. That is the string of characters or words that they give you in order that they tell you to remember in order to log back into your wallet. So it also provides guidance to help investors choose custody methods and outlines factors investors should weigh when deciding how to store their crypto assets. In the post-Gary Gensler era, the SEC has intensified efforts to bring greater oversight to digital asset markets, seeking to balance innovation with customer protection. SEC Chair Paul Atkins has stated that most crypto assets do not qualify as securities, distancing the agency from prior interpretations. His agenda emphasizes self-custody, the development of super apps that integrate multiple services, and reshoring crypto distribution activities in the U.S. You have to pay attention to what's happening under the surface when it comes to crypto. We see that now we don't have Gary Gensler in office. We have now more pro candidates, people stepping up in these positions of authority that are pro crypto now. So think about where crypto is headed from this point. We finally made it to regulation, mass acceptance. It hasn't taken over completely, but we're at the beginning stages of that really happening right now. So recent developments include the approval of in-kind redemptions for crypto ETPs and the establishment of generic listing standards for spot crypto products. The enforcement division has dropped multiple crypto probes indicating a reduced emphasis on enforcement actions. So basically, SEC with Gary Gensler's lead has lost all those, battles that we were, not all of them, but, a lot of those battles we were seeing when they were saying, all these cryptos are different securities, a lot of these CEOs will be going to jail, et cetera, et cetera. We are beyond that point. Now crypto is finally being accepted. We're finally seeing it, from the White House level all the way, to the smallest levels of Congress being accepted all the way to other countries as well. So that just tells us where crypto is headed. Position yourself for the journey. Don't look at this as an overnight thing. Look at it as really investing. Let it grow. Let it blossom. Let it mature. That's how you win in investing. So that's that article. Let's see. Let's go over this YouTube article real quick. YouTube enables payouts for U.S. creators via PYUSD. So YouTube now lets U.S. creators receive ad revenue in PayPal's PYUSD stablecoin. The stablecoin payout is opt-in, uses PayPal infrastructure, and enables on-chain transfers. This move comes as U.S. regulators formalize standards for payment stablecoins and could drive wider adoption. Think about that. Imagine, right now we're seeing platforms, YouTube start to do crypto payouts. We've seen, athletes start to take salaries in crypto payments. Imagine when employers in the rest of the world is offering payouts in crypto. Crypto is going to replace traditional finance. I'm telling y'all, it will happen. It's only a matter of time. So the move comes as U.S. regulators formalize standards for payment stablecoins and could drive wider adoption. YouTube has introduced PayPal's PYUSD stablecoin as a new payout option for U.S.-based creators, allowing them to bypass traditional bank delays and move their earnings directly into digital dollars. This is going to be crazy, y'all. The integration leverages PayPal's payout infrastructure rather than requiring YouTube to handle or custody crypto directly. According to Fortune, PayPal crypto chief Mei Zi, along with Google and YouTube, confirmed PYUSD is now selectable for eligible creators. Stablecoins gain traction in creator economy. Over the past 4 years, YouTube has paid out more than $100 billion to creators, translating to roughly $25 billion annually. With the PYUSD option, a portion of these funds can now flow through stablecoin rails. The rollout is opt-in and exclusive to US at launch, with creators able to select PYUSD through PayPal's hyperwallet as their payout method. Google's documentation details a three-step process. YouTube issues earnings, makes them available via hyperwallet, and allows creators to choose their preferred cash-out method. For those opting for PYUSD, PayPal provides the ability to transfer funds to external blockchain addresses, enabling true on-chain settlement without requiring YouTube to integrate wallets directly. So impact on stablecoin adoption and payments. PYUSD currently has a market cap of nearly $3.9 billion. Even conservative estimates suggest millions in annual YouTube payouts could be routed through PYUSD, with more aggressive scenarios reaching over $1 billion. The scale of YouTube's payout means even small opt-in rates can translate into significant stablecoin transaction volumes and user behavior shifts. So this is very interesting. Now, YouTube payouts can be paid in stablecoin, transferred over into Bitcoin, and now you can start stacking Bitcoin from creating content on YouTube without, doing much, without even needing a bank. It's crazy. Look at where we're headed. Banks are becoming, as we know it, obsolete. We got all these different payment apps, peer-to-peer apps. We got loan apps now, crowdfunding apps. Eventually, crypto will take over the loan space as well. We're starting to already see, crypto-backed loans, using your crypto as collateral. The financial landscape, as we know it, is completely getting flipped, y'all. So just be prepared for the change that is to come. So let's see the scale. Okay. Okay, yeah, so that's that article. Let's see what other news we got in top crypto stories today. So Vanguard exec calls Bitcoin a digital labubu, even as firm offers crypto ETF trading. To me, that just sounds like old heads, that don't want to accept the change. Because to call Bitcoin a digital labubu is crazy. I get it, like they say, like the tulip mania craze, like early stock market days, when people, thought insignificant things, prices could be as high as they could be just because of the market. It showed that once that hope and once that faith disappears, that a lot of these different assets will crash. Or not even assets, but a lot of these items that are considered assets may crash. It's different with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is limited. Only 21 million Bitcoin will ever exist. After that, that is that. With a labubu, it can be basically manufactured at any point. You can't just remanufacture Bitcoin. It doesn't work like that. So even though they say things like that, we all know it's actually not true. So looks like those are the top crypto stories. Let's see what's going on with Bitcoin news. Okay, so these three metrics show Bitcoin found strong support near 80,000. We can take a look at that. Bitcoin creator Satoshi disappeared on this day 15 years ago, leaving a final public message. Okay, we'll check that out as well. Jim Cramer on Strategy Inc. I think you should just own Bitcoin. Bitcoin hoarding company strategy remains in NASDAQ top 100. Okay, let's take a look at this one. These three metrics show Bitcoin found strong support near that $80,000 level. Okay, so on-chain data shows multiple cost basis metrics confirm heavy demand and investor conviction around the $80,000 price level. What to note, Bitcoin rebounded from the 80,000 region after a sharp correction from its October all-time high, with price holding above the average entry levels of key metrics. The convergence of the true market mean US ETF cost basis and the 2024 yearly cost basis around the low of 80,000 range highlights this zone as a major area of structural support. So Bitcoin has so far bounced above the 90,000 range, 15% higher from its November 21 low of around 80,000, with price finding confluence support across three important cost basis metrics: the 2024 yearly volume weighted cost basis, the true market mean, and the average US spot exchange traded fund cost basis. These metrics help to identify where investors are most likely to defend positions during drawdowns. The area of support proved vital as it aligned closely with the average acquisition prices of multiple investor cohorts. First, the true market mean represents the average on-chain purchase price of Bitcoin held by active market participants. It focuses on coins that have moved recently, filtering out long dormant supply, and therefore reflects the cost basis of investors who are most likely to trade. So basically sitting out those wallets that might have been holding since, the last 5-10 years, etc., is basically looking for active traders and trying to get the mean amongst that group right there. So that way we can have an idea of what is the average going rate. During this pullback, the true market mean sat near 81,000 and acted as clear support. Notably, Bitcoin first moved above this level in October 2023 and had not traded below it since, reinforcing its importance as a structural bull market threshold. So looking at those key support areas in the chart and just taking notice, where is the last area in price that Bitcoin crossed above and hasn't dropped back below? And that's that level, that 81,000 level since October 2023. So second, and that's the mean. So mean is generally, the average. But second, the US spot ETF cost basis reflects the weighted average price at which Bitcoin has flowed into US listed spot ETFs. This is calculated by Glassnode using the combined daily ETF inflows with the market price. So basically, when we start to see all the exciting news about institutional money coming into the crypto market, buying up these ETFs, what is the average price that they pay for these ETFs? That gives us that number. So the average cost basis currently sits around 83,844 according to Glassnode. And Bitcoin once again bounced off this level, which it similarly did during the April tariff-driven sell-off. The third metric, the 24 yearly cost basis, tracks the average price at which coins acquired in 2024 were withdrawn from exchanges. CoinDesk research has shown a pattern that yearly cohort cost basis tends to act support during bull markets. In this case, the 2024 cost basis near 83,000, according to Check on Chain, provided additional confirmation of demand. Again, was also seen as support during the April correction. So take a look at right here, yearly volume weighted cost basis. In this graph, you can see the line here, and you can see price staying above that area. So this is used as a very strong support level. These metrics highlight the depth of demand of the support in the 80,000 region. So that's that one right there. Just giving y'all 3 key areas on, why we feel that 80,000 level is a strong support. Let's see what else we got. Can Bitcoin reach 250? That's a sponsor. Or you got a paywall. Let's check out this one. So talking about Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay, let's see. Bitcoin's creator Satoshi disappeared on this day 15 years ago, leaving a final public message. I moved on to other things. True identity of Satoshi Nakamoto entity remains unknown. So Nakamoto is suspected of leaving public life to preserve privacy, evade legal risks, and or ensure Bitcoin's decentralization. You know how crazy that had to be, to come up with something this revolutionary at this time and to basically step away from the spotlight when you would be the most famous, richest person, probably, one of the most wealthiest people in the world. And I'm sure if the true Satoshi Nakamoto stepped forward and, took the credit for it, probably be facing a lot of scrutiny, from legal entities. But at the same time, I'm sure quickly that person would probably become one of the wealthiest people in the world which already Satoshi is, but I think could possibly even rival the top richest people in the world because so many people would appreciate the genius and want to support and, see how they can invest with this person going forward. So, like Elon Musk said, he could basically never go broke because all he would have to do is ask people for money and he would get billions of dollars sent to him. So it's the same thing, I think, with Satoshi. So despite the colossal influence of cryptocurrencies on commerce, computing, and even politics, the true identity of the presumed, I always can't say this word, pseudonymous, don't roast me y'all in the comments, however you say that, but Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto remains a mystery in 2025, making things trickier for identity sleuths. The individual, or perhaps the name, represents a group disappeared without a trace on this day in 2010. That's exactly 15 years ago. The reason, some people say it would have to take a group effort in order to create Bitcoin because you would have to be a master level in like 5 or 6 different areas in order to create what's known as Bitcoin. You have to be like a master mathematician, a master in cryptology, a master in, economics, a master in, all these other different things. And they're saying, how could one person master all these different things? So unless we got like a savant, Satoshi's some type of savant or something like that, they're saying, it's likely a group of people that came together to create it. And there's another group of people that's saying that's unlikely because after all this time, by now someone would have spilled the beans. Somebody would have wanted to, take some credit. Someone would have told something to a loved one, that would have got leaked, just something of that sort. So, I'm still unsure. I like to think that it was one person that created it. Let me know y'all thoughts in the comment section. Do you believe Satoshi Nakamoto is one person or a group of people? So, though the last public message from the BTC founder was about technical matters, an email that appears to be from Nakamoto's account was sent to fellow Bitcoin enthusiast Mike Hearn in April 2011. It began with an explanation for absence of sorts. With the first line reading, I moved on to other things. What could Satoshi Nakamoto have moved on to, y'all? We got to get down to the bottom of that. We got to get a research team together and figure out, what could Satoshi have moved on to. But solving the double spending problem. So basically, the double spending problem is this more of the article? So the double spending problem is, how do you prevent someone from double spending money that, is just numbers on the screen? If these numbers, they could spend the money, and then these numbers can be falsely represented where a person could just easily manipulate the system and be able to spend again, in short. And the hardest thing was to crack the code on solving that, on how to prevent that from happening. That's what Satoshi was able to do. So let's see. On that day, the 9-page long Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was shared on a little-known crypto mailing list. Its significance, it would solve the double spending problem, which had cryptographers in knots for decades prior. In essence, Nakamoto proposed a public ledger using blockchain that would prevent fraudulent copying and thus double spending of any digital asset. This peer-to-peer system would be developed and refined by the BTC creator over the following months before their disappearance. Satoshi is super rich. Wherever they are, or however they live today, the most famous name in crypto history may also be one of the wealthiest entities in the world. Recently cited as the 11th richest person, Nakamoto is thought to still hold the majority of the 1.1 million BTC they mined in the currency's first year. Today, the crypto fortune would be worth about $99 billion. Sheesh! However, BTC valuations have recently slid to around 90,000 after several months of oscillating around that 110,000 to 120,000 level. If they are alive and the coins are still accessible, Nakamoto's BTC fortune has remained unspent since 2010, while its valuation has fluctuated wildly. This incredible level of hodling has led analysis to believe the BTC creator has either passed away or has tragically lost access to the crypto. Others still believe Nakamoto is intentionally maintaining an absolute silence. Bitcoin has no expiration mechanism, with no timeouts, no inactivity penalties, or other kind of revisions to the network. Moreover, there seems to be no quantum or other newfangled computer cryptography tech that is anywhere near breaking the SHA-256 algorithm. Thus, these coins may indeed remain inaccessible to anyone other than Nakamoto for the next 20 to 40 years. However, the situation could change if any of the founders' coins are ever moved or spent. Such an action could cause a stir in itself. Still, it would also expose the public key of that specific coin, creating a more vulnerable attack surface for a sufficiently powerful future quantum computer. So crazy. It would be a shakeup. If people did see that original Bitcoin wallet start to move coins around, that would create a lot of FUD. We see a lot of buying opportunity in the market. I can tell y'all that. And uncertainty as well. Let's see what other top articles we got for Bitcoin today. Okay, so let's take a look at top news stories for XRP today. XRP lands on Solana as Ripple lands crucial banking license. So if you haven't heard, XRP has moved to the Solana chain. Let's take a look at this right here. XRP lands on Solana as Ripple lands crucial banking license. So XRP, long valued for its liquidity and utility, expanded its multi-chain reach as Hex Trust brings XRP to Solana and other networks via a new wrapped asset, WXRP. What happened? Hex Trust is launching WXRP, a regulated one-to-one back wrapped XRP issued and custodied by the firm. This enables XRP to move safely across chains and integrate into DeFi without relying on risky third-party bridges. WXRP debuts with over 100 million in total value locked, delivering deep liquidity from day one. It will be usable on Solana, Optimism, Ethereum, Hyper EVM, and more, supporting trading, liquidity provisions, reward, and secure cross-chain transfers. The rollout also strengthens the XRP RLUSD relationship, unlocking new liquidity pairs and extending XRP's DeFi presence beyond XRPL. In a separate development, Ripple CEO Brad G announced that Ripple has received conditional OCC approval to charter Ripple National Trust Bank, giving RLUSD both federal OCC and state NYDFS oversight, a major regulatory milestone for stablecoin compliance. What's next? Ripple CTO David S. welcomes the move, noting that more XRP ecosystems mean more real utility, with XRPL remaining the secure anchor that keeps the entire ecosystem secure and connected. Hunter Horsley also praised the development, envisioning a future where crypto ecosystems collaborate instead of competing, where the real challenge isn't crypto versus crypto, but crypto collectively advancing beyond the legacy financial system. Y'all, this is the move happening right now. This is traditional banking being turned upside down. This is crypto moving into a space that it was previously considered not allowed to sit down. Crypto can now sit at a table that it wasn't allowed to sit at before, y'all. And it's going to slowly take over the entire lunchroom. This is going to happen. Have confidence, not financial advice, but if you're a bull, this is one of the best times to be a bull, because we can actually see the full future of crypto beginning to roll out. Before, a few years back, yes, we were very speculative. We had confidence, but we still didn't know how the governments would respond or act towards crypto when it came to regulation. Now we're starting to see crypto will be regulated, and not regulated out of existence, but regulated in a healthy way, it looks like. So I'm excited about this, y'all. Analyst Ali Martinez highlighted recent whales selling around 280 million XRP and flagged three key levels: resistance at $2.17 and support at $1.96 and $1.78. So exciting times that we are in right now. XRP holders, XRP army, XLM army, man, get ready. It's going to be crazy. We officially got a bank now to, support the mission. It's going to get even better from here. So let's see what we got going on with Ethereum, top news stories. And then after this, we're going to jump into some Bitcoin technical analysis. Also, we're going to take a look at some indicators on Ethereum as well. We're going to take a look at some indicators on shibainu also. So make sure y'all hit that like button if you already haven't. Stay tuned to the end of the video. Okay, Ethereum. XRP is launching on Ethereum and Solana. Here's why and how. So, Chainlink unveiled bridge to monetize tokenized stocks between Solana and Ethereum. Interesting. Why Ethereum sank 5% today while the crypto market bounced higher. Ethereum price prediction following 57.6 million ETF inflows. What's coming? XRP mildly undervalued on MVRV. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this first story here. Oh, I thought I clicked on it. Okay, there we go. So XRP is launching on Ethereum and Solana. Here's why and how. In brief, XRP will soon be usable on Solana, Ethereum, and other popular blockchains as WXRP. Okay, so it's the same company, the Hex Trust. Looks like they're doing the same thing, making it available on Ethereum and Solana. The unlock is thanks to a new wrapper. Okay, yeah, we just talked about that. So if y'all want to learn more about it, give Hex Trust a follow as well. Yeah, they basically just cover the same information that we just talked about in the last article. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Chainlink unveils X-Bridge to move tokenized stocks between Solana and Ethereum. Let's see. So Finance has introduced X-Bridge, a cross-chain bridge that enables tokenized stocks to move between Ethereum and Solana while tracking stock splits, dividends, and other corporate actions. They just went crazy, y'all. This is fire. They went absolutely crazy with this one. This is gonna, don't tell me one day crypto is gonna take over the stock market as well, y'all. It's crazy. But the bridge uses Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability protocol to ensure consistent behavior across chains, mirroring the behavior of the underlying real-world assets. XBridge is live in pilot mode with plans to add support for additional blockchains like Mantle and Tron, and is already integrated with major cryptocurrency trading platforms, including Kraken. Finance is introducing XBridge, a new cross-chain bridge designed to move tokenized stocks across blockchain without losing track of stock splits, dividends, or other corporate actions. Unveiled at Solana's Breakpoint and built in partnership with Chainlink, XBridge enables users. How many times are they gonna say that? Okay, between Ethereum and Solana, according to an email announcement Friday. These tokens are one-to-one backed by real-world stocks or ETFs and mimic their behavior on-chain, including how they respond to events like a stock split or dividend payout. XBridge uses Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability protocol to ensure that when a token moves from one chain to another, it's linked to the underlying asset and its behavior remains intact. For years, crypto had either permissionless native digital assets or RWAs. Closed behind walled gardens, said Yotama K, CTO and COO of BAC. With X stocks, we brought tokenized equities into DeFi permissionlessly, and now with XBridge, we are completing the loop. So this is crazy. So it doesn't have to, it looks like there's no collaboration that has to take place between the stock company itself and, the tokenized version. This is, very interesting to see how this is going to play out. We're definitely going to be diving into this. So on Ethereum, balances are scaled with an updatable multiplier. On Solana, they rely on token 2022 and automatic rebasing, but the outcome is the same. Token balance update to reflect splits or dividend events, even after crossing chains. BAC X stocks are already live across a number of cryptocurrency trading platforms, including major centralized exchanges. One of those exchanges, Kraken, acquired BAC Finance earlier this month. With the bridge live in pilot mode, BAC plans to add support for Mantle, Tron, and other blockchains in the coming weeks. So that's fire. Interesting to see that take place right there. Shout out to BAC. Interesting to see what they do in the next few months. Let's see. Take a look at top XRP stories. Ripple's Brad G shares key institutional signal, makes bold XRP predictions for 2026. AI predicts XRP price if ETF inflows hits 10 billion. Okay, let's take a look at those two. Ripple CEO Brad G has outlined what he considers one of the clear signs that institutional capital is finally entering the crypto market, despite recent volatility. Speaking at Binance Blockchain Week alongside Solana Foundation President Lily Liu and Binance CEO Richard Tang, Garlinghouse said XRP ETF have already raised over $700 million in just, where the rest of the article go? Let's see if they give us the whole article without paywalling us. Okay, there we go. So 700 million in just a few weeks, according to Ripple CEO. The surge reflects pent-up demand from institutions that previously avoided the asset due to a lack of U.S. regulatory clarity. Garlinghouse emphasized that the shift in U.S. policy has been dramatically underpriced, with the world's largest economy representing 22% of global GDP. The removal of long-standing regulatory hostility marks a critical turning point. Major financial firms, including Franklin Templeton, BlackRock, and even Vanguard, which once refused to touch crypto, are now entering the space. That's a big sign right there, y'all. These were the main people saying crypto's a scam, you should not buy crypto, etc., etc. And now look at it. Like you just said, they're moving into the space, and they're looking to be some of the biggest players in the space. But those of us that have already been positioned, obviously they got more money to work with than us. But, we've already been securing our positions years before this. So, all of us that got time in the market, we're good. We just got to be patient, continue with the plan. Remember your strategy, your investment timeline, and stick to it. So, U.S. policy dramatically underpriced. with the world's largest economy representing 22% of global GDP, the removal of long-standing regulatory hostility marks a critical turning point. Major financial firms, including, boom. That said, Brad G noted that the crypto still represents just 1 to 2% of the global ETF market. He dismissed concerns about short-term ETF outflows and declared there is no chance that the asset class remains this small by 2026. For Ripple's institutional brokerage arm, the trend is already visible. Firms that stayed sidelined due to the risk aversion or regulatory uncertainty are now beginning to crawl, then walk, then run. Moving on, Garlinghouse said the recent market turbulence has not scared institutions. Definitely not, he told the panel, arguing that volatility is pulling more interest in rather than pushing capital out. Remember, volatility creates price action. Price action creates opportunities to buy and make money. So on the payment front, the Ripple CEO highlighted the company's growing stablecoin business, which recently surpassed a $1 billion market cap and has secured approvals in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and the DIFC. The company is seeing accelerating demand for the stablecoin-based treasury flows, boosted further by upcoming U.S. legislation such as the Genius Act, Moreso, Ripple's acquisition of G Treasury, in reinforcing that momentum. Looking ahead, Garlinghouse expects meaningful U.S. regulatory legislation to pass in the first half of 2026, setting up what he believes could be a transformational year for XRP and the broader market. Y'all, the time has come. We finally made it. We stayed down for the come up. Now all we got to do is set it in autopilot and just, kick our feet up and continue to move forward with the market. Yes, something crazy could happen that could bring prices down. That's the nature of the business. But, we're going to continue to hold. We're going to continue to dollar cost average at, those buying levels that we're interested in buying at. Let's see. Okay, let's take a look at top Shiba Inu news stories. So Shiba Inu traders eye recovery. Meanwhile, no K9 Finance sounds alarm for Shiba Inu investors. We talked about that. There was about a 260 ETH exploit that happened on Shibarium through basically the money came from the K9 Finance sector liquidity, and they are unhappy about that. And they're telling Shiba Inu investors that they will potentially have to stop working with Shibarium if the Shibarium team does not, do something to, replace those funds. And I'm not sure why they're putting that on the team itself, or if they're just saying like, hey, if these funds don't turn up, we just won't be able to do what we need to do and have to basically step away. Or if they're saying, the team may have had something to do with it. I'm not too sure on that. But let's see what else we got. Shiba Inu market movement, what tech startups should know. So not too many stories in SHIB today. Shiba Inu burn rate crashes further, 62% to new lows. Let's take a look at what Watcher Guru is saying on Shiba Inu. Usually they have some good news on there or informative news. So let's see. Shiba Inu warning. Analysts list major reasons not to buy SHIB. Okay, let's see what they have to say. Why not to buy Shiba Inu? Well, financial analyst Neil Patel has spearheaded, and that's funny, they got, I didn't take Neil as a financial analyst. That's funny, I've been out the loop on him. He's known to me through marketing, but it's good to see that he in the financial space as well. But has spearheaded various major concerns about this meme coin, and the reasons are pretty compelling. Actually, the token has dropped around 90% from where it was back in 2021, and right now there's not much real-world utility backing it up at all. The Shiba Inu warning isn't just about short-term volatility either. It's about fundamental problems with how the whole thing works and operates. Though several key factors involving minimal adoption and absolutely massive token supply, and also the fact that there are just better options out there in the crypto market. These issues have catalyzed serious concerns among various major investment communities. Shiba Inu's risk, volatility, adoption, and SHIB's price decline. No real world problem being solved. So this is a major issue. People want to see utility. I think it's at a stage where now we can start to see community members want to really step up. We already seen people try to step up and help and do things for SHIB, but I think we're at a different time with technology, with AI, with some of the liberation away from the development team, that it allows some space. It allows space for others to, start to fill some of these roles and look for true real world utility that we can provide for SHIB. If y'all got any ideas that would be cool, real world utility or use case for SHIB, drop it inside the comment section. We need, if you're a part of the SHIB army and you want to see SHIB continue to thrive, you want to see it to, start to have some breakouts, we need to inform people. We need to get people excited once again about Shiba Inu. So drop it in the comment section what you feel will be good for SHIB. So why not buy Shiba Inu when you're looking at investment options right now? The biggest issue is that it doesn't really solve any actual problem and a fundamental concern. Unlike Bitcoin or even Ethereum, which have engineered clear use cases across multiple essential sectors, SHIB is driven mostly by hype and social media buzz along with speculation. Neil Patel pointed this out directly in his analysis. Patel stated, it's hard to make the argument that Shiba Inu's blockchain solves any real world problem. Sure, developers are working on some projects like Shibarium and shibaswap, along with plans for a metaverse and such, but the platform shows pretty minimal adoption so far, and the on-chain activity just isn't there, really. One of the key Shiba Inu risks investors should know about involves the fact that the token doesn't even make it in the top 100 cryptocurrencies when you look at developer activity across various major blockchain networks. The technical community shows no real interest, and this also demonstrates certain critical gaps in ecosystem development. So very important to keep that in mind, y'all. That's why, we don't want to put all hope and, expectation of SHIB growing and blossoming one day on the development team. It's really on us as a community to keep the word going about it, to, stay excited about it. And just remember, even at these low levels that we're seeing SHIB at, SHIB will get hype. As dogecoin gets hype, as the altcoin market starts to pump, people are going to look for those top meme coins. Even though SHIB is down and has been dormant for a little while, it is still amongst the top meme coins. There's not any other meme coin beating it right now except for Doge. So relatively speaking to the rest of the meme coin market, SHIB has still held its position. It's just the OG right now. Now, once you grow to a certain point, it's not as easy to, just grow beyond that point or get back to that point without some major catalyst. But position yourselves and know that the run could still likely take place over this next bull run. I wouldn't count Shiba Inu out if I was y'all. But let's see what else we got. So dramatic price collapse from peak. The SHIB price decline looks brutal, to put it mildly, and it accelerated across several key time periods. The token hit its all-time high, 40AA45, back on October 27, 2021, and since then, various major market conditions drove it into a long slide downward. We're talking about 90% drop from the peak, which hits numerous significant investment portfolios hard. Even this year alone, the token fell around 60%, and this shows that the enthusiasm from 2021 meme coin boom evaporated pretty much at this point in time. But what's going to happen when that hype and that excitement comes back? Remember, Shiba Inu broke to its all-time high price in like a 3-day span. So even though it sounds like it's down drastically, remember, it doesn't take much for Shiba Inu to hit all-time high prices. Just a little focus, effort, and excitement, the right catalyst surrounding Shiba Inu. And remember this, once the right person talks about SHIB, a big player, Elon Musk or somebody like that, they throw some mentions directly on SHIB, not just Doge, we're going to see a lot of excitement start to come back. We're going to see the development team step back into the picture, start ramping things up again. So just don't count Shiba Inu out yet. But Patel noted this long-term trend is hard to ignore, and it might indicate that the investment community is losing interest. Speculative behavior will always exist somewhere in the markets, but Shiba Inu's best days are probably behind it. Massive token supply creates barriers. Another major Shiba Inu investment warning involves the mathematics behind the token supply, and it's pretty straightforward when you think about it. Right now, there are approximately 589 trillion tokens in circulation, which has established certain critical constraints across multiple essential valuation metrics. That's an enormous number, and it creates some serious barriers to price growth in the market for SHIB to reach even 1 cent, not just to even reach 1 cent, not $1, just 1 cent. The market capitalization would need to be larger than the combined value of world's biggest companies and encompasses various major global enterprises. That's just not realistic by any measure, really. So it's basically saying in order for Shiba Inu to reach $1, there's a lot of people that say she's going to be $1 one day. You got to think it's 589 trillion tokens. If the price of Shiba Inu were to reach $1 per token, that means its overall market cap would be at $589 trillion. Think about it. That's more money than it is in the entire world. So it's just not unrealistic to reach that $1 price at this level of supply. We would have to drastically reduce the circulating supply in order to, be able to see SHIB one day, reach not only $1, but, 1 cent. I think 1 cent is very much possible, but that dollar level, think about that. 589 trillion tokens, $1 per token. That's $589 trillion. That's just not logical. But better investment options available. The question of why not to buy a SHIB. This is what I will say. Don't listen to these articles like this that just say don't buy it. Now, of course, you got to do your own due diligence, and nobody can tell you what to do but yourself. Never risk more than you're willing to lose. But this is the times you usually want to buy. You want to buy when it's blood in the street. You want to buy an asset when it's 90% on discount from where people were purchasing it. If people were buying it at a 90% higher price, why wouldn't you buy it at this lower level? Just in case it does get some price action, some movement, you will already have a position secured at a much lower level in the chart, allowing you to take advantage of that ride back to the upside. So, the downside is there's more less room to go down than it is to go up. So more room to the upside. I'm excited about that. Ethereum has revolutionized thousands of Bitcoin continues working towards fixing problems in the monetary system, with scarcity being one of its strongest features, and also its limited supply protocol. Ethereum has revolutionized thousands of decentralized applications and is being used by major financial institutions for global payments across numerous significant markets. These are real-world use cases that drive value over time. They've leveraged multiple essential technological advancements. Patel explained, there's a vast sea of digital assets to choose from, so investors don't have to gamble their money on tokens like Shiba Inu. For those who want crypto exposure, the best choice is Bitcoin. Obviously, but we got degens in the space too. We got people that like to have fun with crypto as well, with non-traditional investors that not only like to make money but be personally involved with it and enjoy the journey as well. So the ongoing SHIB price decline actually reflects a broader shift happening in the crypto market right now. At the time of writing, investors are moving their capital toward assets with genuine utility and strong fundamentals, rather than speculation-driven meme coins that lack various major use cases. As the market matures and develops, even speculative investors seem to be getting more careful about where they put their money, and this has transformed certain critical investment patterns. So that's what they are saying about SHIB right now, giving some FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt to not buy Shiba Inu. So don't be fooled, y'all. Make your own decisions after doing your own due diligence. Let's see what other top stories they got for SHIB. Okay, tired of SHIB's low price. This is when SHIB may break out. Satoshi reacts after 4.13 trillion SHIB vanishes from Coinbase. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Tired of SHIB's low price. This is when Shiba Inu may break out. So the markets are keenly awaiting their favorite meme coin, Shiba Inu, to show credible signs of momentum. The token has long been consolidating, unable to break past that 4010 level to secure a reputable high. The development has led to investors to speculate on its potential timing and enabled them to explore a potential breakout window when SHIB may finally explode a new price threshold. The Shiba Inu ecosystem has long been sharing insights on projects that it has been working on for a long time. For instance, frequent Shibarium upgrades and increased chain activity can always help the token rise high on the radar. Moreover, the launch of SHI stablecoin, which has been kept under wraps for now, could help the token secure new highs in due time as it aids in bolstering Shiba Inu's adoption and momentum. In addition to this, the talks of SHIB ETFs are also gaining steady momentum. If the vision materializes in the future, then the Shiba Inu price may end up breaking records in no time. These aforementioned scenarios are capable of transforming the SHIB price at an incredibly fast pace, turning the tables around for good. However, these developments are still pending official confirmation, which is adding subtle pressure on the SHIB price narrative. Shiba Inu price takeoff. Technical windows revealed. According to CoinCodex SHIB status, the Shiba Inu price may bulge around 2050, climbing to that 403611 in the long run. So they saying 2050. Sheesh. According to our latest Shiba Inu price prediction, SHIB's forecasted to raise 326% and reach a 403611 level by December 25th, 2050 per our technical indicators. The current sentiment is bearish, while the fear and greed index is showing 29 fear. Shiba Inu recorded 37% green days with 5.17 price volatility over the last 30 days. Let's see what this graph is showing. SHIB price prediction over 2025, 2030, 2035, 2040, 2045, 2050. Y'all, I highly doubt it will take us until, basically 25 years from now to reach, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, 3. Are they saying 4 zeros, 3 levels? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, they tripping. They are really tripping. Really, SHIB has been compressed. SHIB has been suppressed, for a while now. SHIB was supposed to already break into these levels, but because of market manipulation, things going on, it wasn't able to. But usually when that happens, eventually it will return to those levels. You just have to be patient. It's not financial advice, but usually it will happen. It might be a rough journey. It might take you to the deep end and drag you deep under. But if you can survive it, then usually you're rewarded for that. So considering all these factors, our Shiba Inu price prediction for 2026 for 2026 in USD is 3066 maximum and 4088 minimum and 404467 average. So they're saying the Shiba Inu 2026 price prediction. Who is that? Per FlipPay SHIB stats. So FlipPay expects Shiba Inu to break. I wonder if they made a typo on that. No, it's not a typo. They got it in the graph as well. So 3 zeros. So they're saying that next year they expect Shiba Inu to delete a 0, well, 2 zeros from where we are right now. Moreover, per Telegram, the token can hit a new price of 40422 by 2026. The average price of SHIB coin can be 40422 in 2026. The market favors newly created meme coins like Bonk and Pepe, which have impacted SHIB's performance. If current growth continues, the Shiba Inu coin can reach a maximum price level of 40543 in 2026. If the acceptance of SHIB coin increases, its maximum price can go higher than our price analysis. However, the minimum price of Shiba Inu can go down to 4331 in 2026 if the market turns bearish. So that's our Shiba Inu update. Let's take a look at Shiba Inu's price real quick. Take a look at some of our indicators that we have on SHIB. So volume, last 24 hours is down 30% at 80.4 million. Market cap 4.89 billion. Right now we can see price trading on the 4 hour. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom all the way to the 1 month right now. So 1 month chart, we could see we are. I wish the RSI was a little more oversold to match with trading along this lower Bollinger Band right here, but it's not. We still are kind of in closer to being oversold, but we're still kind of in that neutral territory. But it might be able to pull down a few more points just to get us to bounce off of that lower Bollinger Band if it actually does want to tap it, which is at that 4 zeros, 1, 2. Which is at that 5 zeros, 5198 level. So don't be afraid if we get shaken down to that level, y'all, over the month or so. Remember, you could put buy orders at that level. That way, if the price wicks down to that level, your buy orders get filled. And when the price bounces right back up, you are already in profit on those orders that you put in. So that's on the monthly right now. We are getting skinnier and skinnier candles versus some of these bigger candles we see over here. You notice how the candles in this range are getting skinnier and skinnier. This is called, basically the market agreeing where the price is, but unsure of which direction it should really go next. But you see it started to break down after we had that consolidation or trading sideways period. The market was indecisive right here, and then it slowly started to decide, okay, SHIB should start to move lower in price. But eventually, buyers will step in, create a strong support. We have a strong support at that 51.98 level on the 1 month. Let's take a look at the 1 week. On the 1 week, we are in oversold territory. Take a look at that 35 on the RSI. We are trading along that lower Bollinger Band, slight downtrend. We do have doji candles forming, which signifies that a trend reversal is likely to occur. Not just saying it's going to happen right now, but it's telling us that it is in the cards. We are trading along this lower Bollinger Band, which means that, you know, if you're buying at this level, you are buying for a good price, especially on this weekly time frame. Let's zoom in more to the 24-hour. We can see that the Bollinger Bands are constricting as these Bollinger Bands. So look at the upper Bollinger Band and the lower Bollinger Band, these two blue lines. As these lines constrict and get tighter and tighter, notice how they were wide apart back here in October, how they were spaced far apart, October 22nd and all that. As they get tighter and constrict, usually a breakout is about to occur. We're going to see a pop in either direction. It could be to the downside, it could be to the upside. Like looking at the overall market conditions from the month on SHIB, I would say that it wants to move to the upside, because right now we are in good buying opportunity, and it won't last forever. But there could be another pullback before we start to see that, and it might be also waiting for the overall market to begin to push forward as well. So that's something to keep in mind. See what the 4 hours telling us. 4 hour kind of looking like the monthly right now, but trading underneath that mid Bollinger Band. We do have a 44 on the RSI, kind of that neutral territory, close, getting towards that oversold territory. If we can continue moving down, it looks like it was rejected off of that mid Bollinger Band right there, so that looks like we're having some trouble at that 80 around 8,400 points per coin. We're having some trouble breaking above that level. So we're going to have to take that level out before, you know, we can start to look at our other resistance points around 87.60. And these are small levels, but this is just showing us where we will have some trouble breaking through. We're looking at where is key resistance in the chart. So we're seeing that we see some strong resistance right there at that level, 86.28. We see we have some resistance at that level, 87.60. You know, we see we got resistance at that 9,077 level. So you just want to pay attention to those resistance levels and know that if we break above it, our next hard level to make it through will be that next resistance point. So, you know, I'm optimistic. We're still sitting on our hands, you know, letting the market play out, letting it form itself, letting it give us more to work with. But if you're somebody who's in the market to shop right now, it's absolutely a good buying opportunity for shibainu, if you ask me personally, not financial advice. Let's go back, take a look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin on the 1 month, we can see just bounced and traded down to the mid Bollinger Band. So it hit the mid Bollinger Band, broke below it before buyers stepped back in, pushed it back up to be supported on that mid Bollinger Band before it broke through again. And right now we got a doji candle forming across right there, forming on right above that mid Bollinger Band. But I don't like that one though right there, because it's looking like, you know, we could possibly pull back further. Usually doji candles at the bottom of a downtrend does signify a trend reversal, but I don't think it's gonna flip just yet. I think we might need a few more candles, you know, to ultimately determine, you know, which direction Bitcoin is gonna start moving. A lot of people are, you know, looking at that. You know, look at on the monthly chart, we got the Bollinger Bands at 52 and 125. So those are our major support and resistance levels on a month scale. So it can swing all the way up here, it can swing all the way down here. You know, but right now I'm looking forward to, you know, give us a little more data to work with before just being able to be confident in which direction that is going to have. Now we see impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse correction. Usually after corrections, we see impulses again. So likely we're going to start seeing some buying pressure come in soon, just not sure exactly when we see that take place. But on the weekly, trading all along the lower Bollinger Band, trading all in oversold territory. So this might be a good sign on the weekly. We might, this doji candle right here forming on the month chart might have been what we're seeing take place on the weekly. You know, these weekly buyers might have just made that monthly candle, might be the reason why that monthly candle is forming into a doji candle instead of just continuing with that selling pressure to the downside. You know, buyers pushing it and holding the line. Now, weekly levels, we're trading along the lower Bollinger Band, which tells us now eventually we're going to start to, the price wants to stay within this range of the Bollinger Band. So eventually, yes, the band can expand, it can open up a little bit, but usually the price likes to trade within this range about 90% of the time. So that's what we're looking for. So with it on the weekly chart, with me seeing it being oversold and trading along the lower Bollinger Band, is volume picking up a little bit. It tells me that, well, buyers are, you know, in control of the volume right now. It tells me that we likely might start seeing some buying pressure. Now we're gonna keep zooming down to see what, you know, the here and now is telling us. So now we're on a 24. So now we just seen the price drop below mid Bollinger Band. And remember, each time frame is basically like, if you're trading within a day time frame, the daily is more important. The lower time frames is more important. If you're trading over a bigger time, then obviously you want to open it up. You still look at the other time frames, but you're making your decision off of higher time frames. Now, this daily one right now is telling us it's not yet overbought or oversold, so we can let it play out the next few days and see, you know, does it give us some nice movement to the downside or to the upside. But again, our support levels on the day, our major support level with our lower Bollinger Band is around 87,000, and with the upper Bollinger Band around 93,000. So, you know, either way, it can, you know, start to work in this direction. And once we get some confirmation that it's moving in one of these directions, we can, you know, reanalyze the data and, you know, start to make our predictions on where we think the price will hit going forward. So that's all we got for this video. I'm thinking about doing another one. I wanted to combine it with this one, but this one a little long. Maybe next time I'll do this on a live stream, but where we go over crypto Twitter as well, so that way, you know, y'all up to date with everything taking place. Twitter has a lot of the freshest, you know, crypto information. You can see a lot of new plays that are going on, a lot of things that people are currently talking about in the crypto space. But that's all we got for this one. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this show. Make sure you like this video, also subscribe, share the video to all the platforms that you can. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the channel. Appreciate y'all for pulling up.